Hi guys, it's Kylie here. I'm going to be showing you guys my top 12 favorite Hoyas. Now most of my collection is Hoya, so this was kind of a challenge to pick out only 12. But I did it, and now I'm going to share with you guys, just in case you guys are thinking about adding more Hoya to your collection. These are some of my favorites. Let's get right into the video. So I do have a list right here, so that way I can kind of remember exactly which ones I had picked, because it is really hard when you have so many Hoya or just so many of one plant type. It's hard to choose which one's your favorite, at least for me. I don't know about everybody, but for me it is really hard to choose. But the first plant that I have is the Hoya Bella. Now this is the green form. I do have all three. The
Louis Boy, I don't know, Louis Blanc.
However you want to say that. It is the one where the white is on the inside, and the one where the white is on the outside. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I got this one most recently, so that's why he's so small. And I got it as a 2-leaf cutting, so 1-node cutting, I guess you could say. But Hoya Bella is one of my favorites because not only does it grow super fast, but it also blooms a ton. Now, this plant has been one of my favorites for so long. I got it as, the lady said it was rooted cuttings, but it was not rooted. So they were just cuttings, and since I had maybe 5 cuttings of it, since last December, this is how much it has grown for me. And it grows kind of crazy once you start cutting it. So if you like to share your Hoyas with a lot of people, just keep in mind that you're going to end up with multiple shoots off of one vine. So it can kind of get a little crazy, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Now this one started out as a very small 3 nodes, and I ended up chopping that up and to each node. So I have a few more plants coming out of just one pot rather than just one plant and having that one grow on its own. I decided to make a bigger plant faster by chopping it up. And then of course I just had this little guy, and he is already starting to form a new growth point. So pretty soon we will have another Hoya Bella just going crazy. That is the first Hoya that I picked out. Now for the second one. So the second one that I have chosen is this one right here. This is Hoya Dalton Henry. Now it is a cross between, I want to say, Crinkle 8 and Macrophylla, which is how it got the splashy leaves. But if you look really closely, the leaves have more of a Macrophylla texture to them. Now this is the newest leaf that it popped out. It has so much splash. This one's kind of been a tricky one for me to learn to grow. Every time I watered it, it went yellow. So I had a bit of a rocky start with this one, but the reason this one is on my top 12 favorite Hoyas is because the money that I used to buy this plant actually came from my grandpa, who had passed away. And I had been saving that money, not all of it obviously, but some of that money for a special plant that reminded me of my grandpa. My grandpa is the reason I am so big into plants. So of course I had to have a plant that honored him, and that would be the Hoya Dalton Henry. If you can get your hands on one, I would highly suggest you do so. This one's already shooting out another tendril right there with a new leaf kind of forming right there. This is one of Suzanne, I cannot say her last name, one of her hybrids. So this one is definitely a special one, and I won her in auction. So thank you, Grandpa, for this beautiful plant that I will continue to remember you by. And my third plant is Hoya Linearis. Now this is one of my baby propagations. I wanted to try to propagate Linearis. Now this one definitely needs a drink of water. But I don't know if you can see, if you look very closely, you can see it's trying to bloom, which is so exciting. I'm so excited about this plant. Now Hoya Linearis is a unique plant. The leaves are really soft, almost looks like hanging grass. But it is just so beautiful. This is my mother plant. Now I'm going to be very gentle because this one also has some blooms to it. This right here was a gift from my boyfriend. He picked it up for me, I want to say about a year ago, and since that, it was probably right here when I first got it, not gonna lie. Since then, I might have to stand up for this. It has grown, and there's the bloom. My daughter did get a hold of this bloom, so one of the little flower things have kind of broke off. But it continues and continues until I reach the ceiling. This little guy right here, or a big guy I should say, right here, was definitely one of my favorite Hoyas. It could not be passed up for any of my other Hoyas because this one is the one my eyes draw to every single time I go into the living room because this one hangs in my living room. So with that being said, this is my third favorite Hoya. Okay, you guys, are you ready for my fourth Hoya? It's one of the most common, I think, in my opinion. It is a Hoya Carnosa. Now, I love my Hoya Carnosa because it's so original, and I think that's why I like it. When I think of a plant for my home, the Hoya Carnosa has to be like the first one that my mind goes to. They're so easy to maintain. This one really asks nothing from me, and it's growing. You see the little leaves coming out right there? I'll use my face as shield. And then some more and more, and it just grows. Once it's been settled in a place for a long time, it shows you it's happy. So Hoya Carnosa is definitely one that needed to be on my top 12 Hoya favorites. And I noticed in this Hoya that some of these leaves are coming out very splashy, which is also super exciting. I should probably turn this plant in the window so it's facing this way outside, and hopefully the new growth will have some more splash. But there's always that question whether or not it really works as far as light goes. We will see eventually. But yeah, Hoya Carnosa. My fifth favorite Hoya. I would be crazy if I didn't include this Hoya just because I am obsessed with it. It would have to be my Hoya Carnosa Compacta. Now this one needs a good watering. I'm just realizing that as I'm pulling it out to show you guys. But this one was a rehab plant. When I first got it, it was dying of root rot, and I didn't realize it, so I didn't water it for like 2 months because it just sat in such soggy soil that I thought, okay, something's not right about this. Like 2 months is a long time to not water a plant. So I ended up realizing it had root rot. I saved it from root rot, so here it is now, and it is growing for me. I don't know if you can see. Let's see, do I have a spot right here? That is a new leaf right there. It's kind of splashy, super pretty. Up here at the very top, there's some new growth in there. And obviously this little strand popping out, that's gonna be some new growth. It's growing in every spot you can think of, honestly. So this plant right here is an angel because Although it was going to hit the dust at the place that it was at, I was able to save it and have my own Carnosa Compacta. And I can't just say the green form because I have the variegated form. And then, of course, can't just do those two. You have to do all three. This is the Monoloa. This one's going to need some water too. It's starting to get kind of wrinkly. But this one also has new growth in there. Where is it? Right there. In the middle there, you can see that kind of pink tone. That is new growth. I'm in love with the Hoya Carnosa Compacta. Now, it can be a bugger when you do get pests on it because Lord knows you're not going to be able to get every little bug out of there. These leaves are just crazy. But you don't normally see a plant like this. Like, a plant just doesn't normally grow like a Hoya Compacta. It just really doesn't. So that is why it's on my favorite list, because it's just so unique and it's so beautiful. I know there's a lot of people who could disagree with me, and that's okay. I'm not saying you have to like this plant, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Okay, so for the sixth plant, it would have to be my Hoya. It goes by two names, either villosa or globulosa. I've always called it globulosa, but that is the newest baby leaf right there. Look at these leaves. They've got such like a crinkly edging to it. It's just beautiful. And overall, it's one of my favorites. For sure, this one I could not just look past and not, love on it. So this one is my sixth favorite Hoya. For my seventh favorite Hoya, my Hoya Linearis yellow pink. Now, when I first got this plant, my boyfriend actually bought it for me. It only had that leaf right there. And it had no like texture to the leaves or anything like that. So getting it looked like just any other plain Hoya, nothing special. This light is actually showing more than what the eye can see. But as it started to grow into this beautiful, beautiful Hoya, and I am absolutely obsessed watching a new leaf form on this. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I posted a picture of this when one of these leaves were a itty bitty baby and it was just growing out. It had such a pretty color to it. So this one definitely had to go on my list because it's so beautiful, and everybody wants the Hoya Sarawak and Sulawesi, but they are just overlooking the beauty on this Hoya Linearis yellow pink. It is stunning and a lot cheaper than the Sarawak and Sulawesi I run for. So this one's definitely a favorite of mine. Yeah, that is my seventh Hoya. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Actually, my father called me to make sure that I was all right. I got in an accident today, so that is why if I don't sound like myself, or, I'm all over the place, and I needed to make a video just to make myself feel a little better with the situation that happened today. Everything is fine. Me and my daughter are okay. Other than that, though, let's just forget about it. So for Hoya number 8, I have Hoya Manny Parensis. Now I'm gonna scoot up a little closer for you. Don't judge, okay? She's a little ugly for the moment. I had to repot her. She was getting too dry, too fast, way too often. So her leaves look a little funky because of that. But regardless of that, the leaves in general look very beautiful. So as you can see right there in the middle, let's see if you'll stop moving on me. Right there in the middle, she has some blooms. So Hoya Manny Parensis actually blooms right there. But the leaf shape on this Hoya is like a little triangle. So cute, so adorable, and definitely one of my favorites. So I had to include her because I don't know how many times I watch Hoya favorite videos and nobody mentions the Hoya Manny Parensis. I think it is such a little stunner. Like, come on. And she grows upright like a bush. It is just so freaking cute. Ugh, I love it. And not many people know about it. And I think it needs to be more known, like Hoya Manny Parensis. So cute. I wish she didn't look the way she did right now, but that was on me. That was my fault. I finally repotted. But definitely one of my favorite Hoyas, and I think you guys would enjoy her too. So you all might just laugh at me, and that is okay. My next Hoya, which is number 9, yes, this is my Hoya Ratusa. Now, not many people like this Hoya, and I understand why. She looks like grass. Okay, she looks like grass, but grass that trails, okay? Okay, can you get behind it? No, that's okay. I don't care. I love this plant. This plant currently is blooming for me as well. She's got such beautiful white with maroon. This one is definitely an eye catcher. You don't normally see this plant in somebody's collection. As it grows down, it like forms these like firework, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It looks like little tiny fireworks, like each one of these nodes where the leaves are coming out of it, it looks like a firework. Like, here's a good example. That bottom one right there. It looks like a firework, guys. I love this plant so much. And she stays bushy on the top. So I really appreciate a plant that stays bushy on the top. When I first saw pictures of this, I actually didn't like this Hoya. I thought it looked really dumb. Okay? But as I went shopping one day, I noticed it and I was like, wait, that's a Hoya Ratusa? And it kind of occurred to me, like, it wasn't exactly what I thought it was. Like, the leaves are thicker than grass. They almost got like a little heart end to it. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like a little heart or a little booty. You know, a little booty. So I think Ratusa is definitely on my list for sure because it's just not one that people want to go for when they see a Hoya. And it's so pretty. The 10th favorite Hoya has to be another one my boyfriend bought me. And not because he bought it for me, but it also makes it that much more special, you know, when your significant other buys you a plant that just means a lot to you. It ends up being one of your favorites more often. Like, you just genuinely love that plant more. Okay, so this one's a biggie. You guys ready? This is my Hoya Vitilinoides. Now, this plant, when I got it, it was not in the size of pot. It was actually a smaller pot with just this leaf and this leaf. These were the two first leaves that it had on it when I first received this plant. And, you know, it didn't take very long for this plant to start growing for me because eventually it popped out this leaf, which is a lot bigger than the first leaves that it came with. So it popped out this one, and look, it just looks like a freaking dragon. I love it. This plant actually grows pretty well for me. It might stop though, given the fact that I did up pot it, but I didn't mess around with the roots or anything. I just plopped it in a new pot, added some more soil, and it's been good to go. So, other than that, this plant has been amazing to me. And I think if you guys got your hands on a Hoya Vitilinoides like this, you guys will have a lot of new growth quite quickly, and it's very exciting when you see a leaf that big growing so fast. So Hoya Vitilinoides was definitely one that needed to be on my list. For one, it came from my boyfriend. And for two, it grows so fast and has such beautiful leaves. Yes, this one is my 10th favorite Hoya. So for my 11th plant, this one has a more meaningful memory behind it. So that is why it is one of my top 12 favorite plants. And I actually went on a little adventure out of state, and I ended up stopping at some plant stops with my boyfriend, and this plant was there, and so I had to buy it. I just couldn't pass it up. I've never seen one this big. So this is my Hoya Calyx. I'm gonna have to back her up. This is my Hoyokova Calyx. This plant is also on my favorites because it grows so insanely fast. Now, if you're looking for your first Hoya and you've never had Hoya before, I would highly, highly, highly suggest getting yourself a Hoya Calyx, because not only does it grow super fast, it has really, really splashy leaves. Look at that. It also will bloom pretty quickly for you. So this one has bloomed once so far. I haven't seen it bloom since. I don't see any peduncles, but I do see some new growth back there. Genuinely really happy with this plant. It's easy. So it's definitely a beginner-friendly plant, and that is why I really love this plant. And I think it deserves a place on my top 12 Hoya plants. Okay, guys. So for the very last Hoya, I have Hoya Svetlana. Now this one is definitely hard to come by, and if you can get your hands on it, please do so. She's been so easy for me. I haven't got a ton of new growth from her yet, but she is definitely getting ready for the new leaves coming in. She is just so freaking cute. I don't know why I love this plant so much. I just do. I ended up having to reroot these two little plantlets in here 2 different times. The first time, the seller originally rerooted it for me, but she rerooted it in leca. And I'm not gonna diss on somebody when they root something in leca. It's everyone to themselves, but I cannot stand putting Hoya in leca because they do not want to come back out of leca. Once you have them in, they give you so much crap when you want to try to take them out of leca. So I basically rerooted it again once I got this plant in just dirt. Like, I rooted it in here. So it hasn't done anything for me since I got it, but it hasn't been that long since I got this plant. I got it this year, but that new growth spike right there, I'm just so excited to see these new little baby leaves coming out of here, because Hoya Svetlana is just, the name in itself reminds me of Shameless, and that's, I think, why I was so drawn to this Hoya, because of just the name. It's so beautiful. Like, look at her. She's kind of crinkly. She's got some wavy to her, but I don't know if the newest leaves will be like that or not. Got a little baby one in there too. There's some splash on this plant, which I think is fun. Not many plants have a ton of splash, but I'm hoping maybe this next leaves will have some splash. Who knows? We will see. I haven't been Hoya shopping in a long time, so I don't know how common Hoya Svetlana is, but I know I paid a pretty penny. Say that 3 times fast. I know I paid a pretty penny for this pant. I know I paid a pretty penny for this plant. Okay, I'm done. Guys, you have a great day. I hope you all enjoyed my top 12 favorite Hoya plants. And if you want to stick around, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you liked this video, please hit that like button as well. And if you want to hit that notification bell, it'll let you know whenever I post a new video. I've been kind of posting one per week, so we'll see if I can get up that number, maybe to 2 videos a week. We'll see. But I will be going back to my job full time. So as soon as that happens, I know my rate for posting videos will slow down. So I hope you guys want to join my little plant family because I'd love to have you. And without further ado, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!